Good morning and welcome to the 13th Annual Santa Barbara Botanic Gardens Conservation Symposium. We're here today to discuss how we can all plant with purpose by specifically using native plants to strengthen our landscapes, our ecology, and our lives. I want to thank all of you here today, both in person and online, our incredible group of speakers, and especially this year's generous sponsors, including the Nakashima-Rennie family, Blackbird Architects, Christian and Melissa Stephian, Cox Communications, and Newshawk. This year marks the garden's 100th anniversary. We've been a leader in horticulture, research, education, and conservation. And as many of you know and are already aware, we also run the best native plant garden in the nation and the oldest native plant garden in the nation. For over a century, we've championed California's native flora, its crucial role in sustaining wildlife, healthy ecosystems, and resilient communities. To celebrate that century of impact, we are inviting everyone to join us as part of the native plant movement. Whether you are adding native plants to your yard, volunteering for local restoration projects, or helping spread the word with friends and neighbors, your action matters. Thank you. I want to invite you, let me go back one more. I want to invite you to scan this code either now, or this will also be online later on, or go to our website to download a variety of free resources we've developed to help you protect biodiversity. There is something that everyone can do to help. And to get you started as you're leaving today, we're going to be able to provide you with a native plant, either a shrub or a California poppy, to get you going on that journey. As we set our sights on the next 100 years, it's my pleasure to also introduce Dr. Heather Schneider, our new Director of Conservation and Research. Heather has led our rare plant conservation team at the garden for nearly a decade and has recently taken over the reins of our entire conservation program, leading a team of 25 scientists committed to advancing native plant knowledge from genes to entire ecosystems. You'll hear from her a little later today, but thank you for joining me in welcoming her. Finally, it is my honor to announce that this year's Honorable John C. Pritzlaff Conservation Award recipient. This award recognizes individuals whose leadership and impact have significantly advanced conservation and environmental stewardship, inspiring action at both the local and oftentimes global levels. This year, we are proud to recognize another true leader in native plant conservation and someone who is actively working to inspire everyone to plant with purpose. And, we'll come back to that one. That person is Dr. Doug Tallamy. Doug is an ecological yes? Doug is an ecological entomologist, professor at the University of Delaware, and a New York Times best-selling author with books like Nature's Best Hope and Bringing Nature Home. His work has inspired millions to rethink our relationship with landscapes and has seen native plants as essential partners in halting biodiversity loss. He has done this in a way that includes, but goes beyond, what traditional academic researchers have done. Let's learn a little bit more about why we're recognizing Doug today.
When I started my Ph.D. back in 2013, there was a little bit of interest in native plant gardening, but it was really just kind of siloed in these like extra specialized organizations. And actually, before I started my Ph.D., my other collaborator was like, you gotta meet this guy, Doug. I think you guys would work together really well. And I was like, who's Doug? Like, who's Doug Tallamy?
Doug was one of the early people across the nation that figured out that there was a real connection between native plants and insects and birds. We all knew that intuitively. Doug was able to document that, and then he shared that in a way that went beyond just publishing peer-reviewed articles.
Yeah, Doug Tallamy is a leader in discussing native plants based at the University of Delaware, entomologist. He's a friend of mine. professor of mine, just a wonderful human being.
When Doug started, he was a behavioral ecologist and asked all these like esoteric questions about evolution and things like that. And as he went further in being a scientist and being an entomologist, he sort of realized, you know, how we're affecting the world and seeing declines and seeing like the degradation and the changes that are happening over his lifetime. And while, you know, some scientists might go down the doom and gloom pathway, he actually went in the opposite direction and started thinking about what we can do and using the observations that he was making in his own yard to sort of lead the trajectory of the rest of his science.
One thing that Doug has done that is really unique for most scientists is to speak to people in a way that they both understand and connect with. Doug is a prolific author with a popular audience. He's even adapted one of his books for children.
Doug has done a lot of wonderful books. They've all had their unique focus and different content. And then when The Living Landscape came out, that book is still selling really well. I can't believe it because it's a 2014 book. That's the first time that I ever actually, from the outset, did a co-written book. We really wanted to do a book that was authentic, that we knew every photograph that was in there. We knew the background on it, so we're not making up anything. The combination of the two of us together was the ideal situation where we could have all these concepts and that we could show people what these landscapes we're talking about could look like.
When Doug gives talks, he likes to give people like really concrete examples and anecdotes of ways that they can make a difference. And for many, many years, he talked about how our yards are small, but in aggregate, they can cover this huge area more than all the national parks in the United States. It was just kind of like a quip that he said.
When my husband and I left New York City and moved to Connecticut, our neighbors advised us that we had a neglected garden. They encouraged me to go to a talk where this man was speaking named Doug Tallamy. He started to talk about the loss of biodiversity to overdevelopment and loss of habitat. And I was thinking at the time that I would just get up and leave because I didn't want another bad human moment. But before I could even think of doing that, he said, and there's such a simple solution. And that was the beginning of my realization that you don't have to be a gardener for a living or even a hobby to be part of the solution by planting native and removing invasive plants.
People heard that message and felt really inspired and felt really like there's a movement here, but we don't really know how many people are a part of this movement. And so they started this nonprofit named Homegrown National Park.
Homegrown National Park was really a term coined by him at least 25 years ago. We launched our website in 2020. So what we are is a movement to get people aware of the biodiversity crisis and then to commit to being part of the solution. We have this interactive map where you can put your intention or your plantings or what you already have planted. And this is for everyone to do, whether you're a business, an individual, a conservation nonprofit with a lot of members. The Homegrown National Park Biodiversity Map shows that individually we're making an impact and collectively we're solving the biodiversity crisis.
Doug's influence is a huge part for the reason that I am the scientist that I am today, and I'm just really grateful that I've had the opportunity for my life to intersect with his.
The opportunity to have gotten to know Doug and to have worked meaningfully with him and to produce that book and lecture together, it's been one of life's great joys, no question about it.
There's not many people like Doug around. He's making a bigger difference than any other academic I know in regards to supporting and promoting native plants.
With that, please, Doug, come join me up on stage and receive your award. We cut a diamond for you, of course. And it's worth noting, Doug saw that video for the very first time. In fact, he didn't even know we were doing it, so it was kind of fun. I'm sorry to spring it on you, but it was fun. Doug, thank you for your commitment to native plants, biodiversity, and ecological stewardship. And thank you for joining us today. And thank you all for joining us today. Now, the stage is yours.
Thank you.
Uh-oh.